issue that I just thought maybe probably we can throw in the table and discuss as we are relaxing.
Okay.
There are certain things that we experience here in life and here upon the face of the earth, but I think we have never really taken time to really dwell much or ponder much on them to understand what really is happening or where is it really coming from. It's a very unusual topic, and it's one thing that I think is not really discussed at many platforms. I want to understand, pastors, that what is death? That's the first point.
Okay.
Death.
Did you say unusual or scary or...
Is it a topic to actually choose on, guys?
Yeah, it's a topic that we really have to talk about. Why we have our loved ones that are dying each and every day. People are burying people. You know, every day they say people are dying. Someone is getting buried. So, and I also check at the trauma, and I check at the bereavement, I check at the grief that comes with death. How people try to console themselves from losing a loved one. So I want to understand, what is death? Who invented death, or who created death? Where is it coming from? Is it God's idea? Is it the devil's idea? Where does death reside? What is it feeding on? Because for it to be happening on a daily basis, it means there is something that it is thriving from. Is death a human being? Is death a spirit? Is death... What kind of
I
thing
think,
is that one?
I think Pastor Sheki wants to scare us out of our shoes right now. But viewers at home, welcome to Life in the Word. My name is Pastor Donald, and I'm joined here by Pastor Sheki.
See, the problem that you have, you know, the moment you're discussing death, it's as if one of us is going to die.
No, the way you just brought it in, there's Pastor Sheki who has brought in the topic. And Pastor Emmanuel, welcome.
You're just so serious.
You know, gentlemen, I like the way you have just come in, and it's been a while, and we enjoy, the viewers at home do enjoy seeing you. Yes, definitely. We thank you for joining us once again to Life in the Word.
I really want to understand.
Appreciate you for tuning in to Life in the Word, taking Christ to the nations. And we're here on Life in the Word to discuss more of these issues. So Pastor Sheki brought in the issue of death. Pastor Emmanuel, I know you on such issues, on controversial and unusual issues. I wouldn't want to break the ice like Pastor Sheki has done, but I think it's one of those sensitive issues that we always choose to discuss on Life in the Word, not to make them lighter, but to try and demystify certain myths that have gone out there. And this is a lifestyle in the Word. I mean, we meet up with this question on a daily basis. Maybe what's your thought, just to open up the program, not exactly maybe answering what Pastor Sheki, but maybe your thought, your open-minded thought on death as a topic. I don't know where you want to start it from. What comes to mind when you hear that death or someone is dead, you see something that is dead? What do you first think about?
I cannot say what comes to mind when I hear about the topic, but what came into my mind when I heard about the topic from Pastor Sheki, I just got stuck. I wondered,
out of all the topics,
yes, what about death does he want us to talk about? You know, I just got stuck. So in my mind, I'm still like rolling up and trying to figure out what exactly are we here to talk about. But as he just brought in the issue, in me, I feel the need to discuss the topic. And the reason why we really have to talk about it is because even in me, before we go to the public, it's quite a scary subject, something that almost everybody is hesitant to talk about. Whenever it's spoken about, you know, it takes people's emotions and stuff. So,
True.
Yeah, I feel the need, though very uncomfortable,
To discuss
but
it.
I feel the need is there.
So-
So we can talk about it.
Maybe, gentlemen, I would want to ask, everybody is affected by death in one way or the other. Is that right, yes or no?
I wouldn't want to agree with you instantly, because
Are we
that's
not
why I'm...
affected, or do we come by it? When it comes by, we are, I don't know if that's the right word to say affected, but to say we all have to have a statement to say about it.
Well,
I think-
that's quite an ambiguous word that you used, affected, because we have a positive and negative effect.
Yes.
Or when something happens. So probably, what do you really mean when you say affected?
Maybe just to bring it to light to say, we all are, lack of a better word, but we all come across it in one way or the other. Maybe that's
that's why I said I wouldn't want to agree with you quickly, because what you're saying calls for the discussion we are supposed to have.
all right.
Is it
That's
everyone
fine.
who's coming
So that's the
across
premise
it?
we want to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Is it everyone who's coming across it? I once read a documentary of a certain Egyptian king who had his son. And he tried by all means in the upbringing of the child never to allow that child to be in a place whereby he saw death. So he was shunned from seeing anything dying. He was kept in a very well-managed place whereby he was not exposed to these things like death. But something happened that then led the child to then experience those things at a later stage in life. So that's why I'm saying I wouldn't want to agree with you that everyone at this particular point is going through, is coming across that. Let's say there's someone who's actually doing what that king did in the past.
But I would want to argue with you on that same documentary.
That's
to
why
say,
I brought this one. Let's argue on that one.
to say, is it then saying he never came, he was just shunned away? Maybe you were very right by saying shunned away, he was kept away, something was dying.
Sure.
But as soon as that thing is about to die, I don't know how they were doing it, but you'd find that they would remove him from that.
Exactly.
But the effect or the him being affected is still does not remove that fact. To say if his
later on,
dog,
the child was actually affected when he got to know that this is what happens.
this is what has been happening.
But I'm saying he lived a certain lifestyle without getting across that. So we cannot say everyone is getting across that particular event, which is called death. Because you see, pastors, why Pastor Emmanuel said I got stuck. That's the same feeling I had when that thought dropped into me. And I saw the need for me to discuss and to look for friends that I can talk to about this issue, because why was I stuck with something that is happening?
how did it come to your mind? Out of all the topics
we
we've
have the
discussed,
economy to talk about.
we have life to talk about.
But within the economy,
But
there's
our
death.
wives
Death-
to
you know
talk
what?
about.
We talk about economies crumbling.
Yeah.
We talk about economies dying. We talk about systems dying. Which means death is not only happening on physical things. Death also happens on systems.
Or maybe before we go even far, that far, we'd want to maybe try and get a running definition, something that we can run with for this particular program, because we would want to also use the term very loosely, because you'll find maybe when people are saying the economy is dying or the car is dead, they're just saying the car has stopped moving, or not necessarily, because once you hear death, it's like there's a separation, or it's a removal of something. You know what I'm saying. So we really want to get a running definition that we can run with on the program, something that we can all be comfortable with, and then I know the comments are going to pour in, because one way or the other, I still stand my ground to say I would like to be controversial this time around and say we are all affected by it in one way or the other. And I think the way we deal with it is something that then needs debate, but we are all affected by it.
You have my support on that.
Oh, you have my support. Okay, I have your
So you're
support.
teaming up against me.
I have your support now.
No,
so
I don't intend to team up against you. I'm just supporting what you said.
You know,
So, all right, maybe Pastor Sheki, let me give you the floor to try and unroll or unpack what was in your mind as well. Besides the number of questions that you were
Maybe
throwing.
if you can go strict to
Yeah.
the definition,
exactly.
Yeah.
or his definition,
Yeah,
then we
and-
also give him our
definition as well.
definitions, yeah.
So, running on the foundation, how this came to mind.
Yeah, that's so surprising that you're bringing this back to me when I ask.
Oh yeah, there's maybe just take us through your foundation. You may not give us a your definition per se, but we just want to see.
A summary of how this came up.
Yeah. We would want to know. This is quite queer.
Okay. I'm living within a society whereby I'm seeing people dying.
Yeah.
I see people committing suicide. I see people dying through accidents. And some they die very young, some they die in their middle age, some they die when they are ripe in age. So I wanted to follow the pattern. What really triggers death? Is it age? Is it gender? Is it a location? Is it an environment? Then that was not suitable because I then saw young people die, middle-aged class people die, people in Africa die, people in Asia die, people in Europe die. So that then called me into attention of really, what really is this thing that is affecting, exactly, what is really this thing that is affecting, cutting across all ages? And whether you are rich, whether you are poor, you are a victim of this particular something. So I then wanted to understand where really did death started? Who really created death? Was it God's idea for people to die? Or was it the devil's idea? Or if it was not God's idea, where did the devil get that particular thing that is called death? What kind of a formula is made up that one then can end up in an answer called death?
Okay, I like the angles you're bringing, but before we go that far, because there's a particular angle that I wouldn't want to.
No, I'm just throwing in.
Yeah, I like, yeah. But let me be selfish this time around and ask Pastor Emmanuel to come in and unpack it for us and unroll it for us.
Yeah, but you know, you should have allowed me to unpack my own topic, you know.
No, we're now moving in Pastor Sheki's office.
Yeah, maybe the general definition of death. Well, from Pastor Sheki, it seems like he's been so specific about death on human beings.
Sure.
But maybe to just enlighten and also to lighten moments. I think death is a general word that has no specific intent or individual, but it's a general word that is directed to something or anything or anyone that has stopped functioning.
Anything,
or that
someone, something.
Yes, that life has ceased. You know, we understand that everything made by human beings, it has its lifespan. Even without having its lifespan, something might happen in between that may cause that thing to stop functioning. You can decide to call it death.
Okay.
This thing is
when
dead.
Something is,
it's the general. I'm just trying to bring your attention to the fact that death is not a complex word as said, but it can also be a very general word that can be used on anything and anyone. Even animals, they die. Things that we create, they die. So, but it's quite, what do you call it? It's quite scary when it's directed to human beings. You understand? All right. Even on human beings, yes, we have got medical terms that we use if probably my leg stops functioning, right? But I might decide to say this leg is dead.
Okay.
Not me.
But the leg is dead.
Not the body. Not the whole body, but just
the leg.
Just the leg.
Just the leg.
Maybe just hold that thought. We need to take a short break. Viewers, please join us after this short break. This is Life in the Word.
Looking after his father-in-law's sheep in the desert, feeding them in the desert, looking after them, but in the desert. They didn't die of hunger. There was enough grass and enough water, but in the desert. Not because the desert was no longer a desert, but because of the kind of the shepherd. He would feed the sheep in the desert. Before you manifest in the palace and change the affairs of the nation, go to the assembly, to to the elders, to the mature, don't go to the palace first. Go to church. And then there is something that I want you people to see. It is there in the Bible, but I know most people you can't see it. Here it is. I'll bring you up and out. For the first time, you will look at yourself and realize that I'm out of affliction. You will be standing there and poverty will be standing away from you. There is a separation that is taking place. I'm saying this because the God of your fathers has appeared unto me.
Welcome back to Life in the Word. We are discussing about death. Pastor Emmanuel, just before we took a break, you were saying when your leg stops to function, this is something that has to do with death. It's a description of death.
Quite surprising, Pastor, and my colleague, Pastor Sheki, is that, well, I don't know whether I say I should support those that do that or... But have you ever realized that when we refer to human beings, normally there seems to be quite a number of vocabulary that we're now using just in trying to avoid the word death. Some say passed away. Some say passed on.
Promoted to glory.
Some say promoted to glory.
He's late.
Some say he's late.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. But that is only to human beings. I've never heard somebody saying my donkey has passed on.
Okay.
I've never heard somebody saying my God is promoted to glory. Was probably there's no glory to go to.
All right.
So
all right.
it seems like a mechanism of humanity to try and run away from something that they thought is scary. Whereas that particular
But
word
Pastor,
called
is
death,
it not scary?
what's scary is maybe lack of knowledge. Okay, maybe it's quite unfortunate that you are pushing me into something that I thought Pastor Sheki was going to be doing, but nevertheless, I'm going to do it. Okay.
Which is actually good.
What's scary from my own analysis, because please don't caught me off guard, because you then say, why did you react this way when so-and-so of yours died and the like? No, I'm saying I learned.
No, we are not going to touch on those scenarios. No. We are not.
All right, I'm saying I learned through it.
Okay.
So what I'm giving you here is an analysis of what I learned through all those experiences that you guys might caught on me, right? So that one.
No, feel free. Today I'm very generous.
And even to the viewers, we will make sure we will not quote Pastor Emmanuel on this one.
We want to see how far you'll go. We really want to stretch your mind.
In other words, if I'm hearing you, Pastor Emmanuel, you're saying the simple definition of death, not limiting it to personalities or to humans. We are saying
is when
death,
something stops functioning.
Exactly.
That's all.
Death is the end of the life of a person or an organism. That's what we call death.
He says anything,
even if it's not
That's
an organism.
why I'm saying organism.
Anything
because
that
a car can be
has,
organized.
yes.
So the end of life of that particular individual or that particular gadget or thing, that's what we call death. So which means this is now our running definition of death.
No, that's you. That's his.
He
said,
no,
I like the
just
disclaimer because I'm still to come in.
Personally, I'm also now joining him.
No, I'll come in with another.
I'm teaming up with him.
All right, all right, we'll see.
So you're now alone.
No, we'll see how far we can take this, because
I think you guys are just smart and good in snatching away the flow, because I was flowing, right?
All right, then let's go. We give you. No, we give you.
No,
the
you're not
flow.
supporting me. I was flowing, and now I'm kind of forgetting where I was going.
But his points.
Okay, where was I going?
No, his points were dead now. His points are dead.
My point is dead.
You were talking about trying to highlight to us what death is all about through the experiences that you have gone through in life. But you then gave us a discretion.
Okay,
and a
you gave me a
that
reminder.
don't
Thank
quote
you.
me.
Okay, thank you. So I was intending to say, before you guys interrupted me, I was intending to say, what's scary about the word is that we came to life and we were not probably educated about the functionalities of the body, the life the body has to go through, probably when it has to retire. And only if that was told to us at a proper age, maybe let me be careful in saying that, at a proper age, very timeless, fear of death was never going to be in us like that. Because the reason why I'm saying that is, you know, there are people, you guys can agree with me, there are people, when you look at them, you see how brave they look and all that. But when something is directly on them, threatening to take away their life, with all the braveness that they might portray to people or in the world, or how you also look at how the people are protected themselves, you can tell that it's all in the fear of death. Besides just being careful and knowing that probably you are living in a weird world. But my point is, if we had gotten proper information at a proper time about what death is, it was never supposed to scare human beings, because I don't think other things are so scared of death the way human beings are scared of death. Yes, I've looked at animals. You know, I tried hunting, though I'm not a proper hunter, but I tried it some time ago. It seems like everything that is created that has breath has an instinct in them that protects themselves from, or that fights death. But still, I refused to think that it is only that instinct, but probably it is the instinct that is telling them that, yes, you might die before your time. I might end it there.
All right. Maybe I like how you've brought it in, and you're now blending in with your definition and giving real-life examples. But I would want to say, when something has outlived its lifespan, that is death. It may seem, when it has outlived its lifespan, when there is a separation from life of that particular thing or something. I don't know, maybe it's just words that are similar.
Okay, you can just come again, you know, you're very good.
So,
you can just come again.
I like the way you
rephrase. You can rephrase.
When something is, it's like when you have credit on your phone, when you have airtime.
Talk time.
And then when that talk time has ended, that's just an example. I wouldn't say my airtime is dead, but when that talk time has run out, you have outlived or outrun the lifespan of that talking time on your phone.
Sure.
So that is the same when you juice
Pastor,
up. When you
before you continue, you know, thank you so much. But you have left me behind, because you said when something has outlived its lifespan, then your illustration becomes very wrong. When you use airtime, because before you use airtime, you know it has to last you 2 minutes, so it cannot outlive.
It can.
The 2 minutes.
Maybe it's English. My English that's bad.
Okay.
But yes, I will admit that my English is very bad. But my point is.
All right, maybe to make your life...
I thought the proper example was going to be, suppose this dog is supposed to live 8 years, right? And then it lives for 8.5 years. Then it is outlived its lifespan, something like that.
Just to add on what Pastor Emmanuel is
All
saying.
right, maybe before we run with terms.
Before you answer, Pastor Donald, maybe to add on what Pastor Emmanuel is saying. Because the moment we take that kind of an example and illustration that you have given, the person who designed the airtime, like he's saying, knows automatically that this one is going to last this guy 20 minutes.
So it can't last you 21 minutes.
It's exactly. It's no matter how conservative.
I like the way you guys are coming.
No matter
now it's
how
coming.
stretched, no matter how stretched, even if you take 2 days or 30 days with the airtime that lasts you 20 minutes, even if you spend the whole year, it's going to only work 20 minutes in the 1 year that you have been using that airtime, right? So if we then take that illustration and we put it as lifespan, where I have a problem just to join him, the problem is coming.
You guys are teaming up against me today. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Where I'm having a problem, where I start having a problem is that, so does it then mean the person who designed the juice card also chose the day this juice card is going to die?
Precisely.
So are you then saying my creator God is the one who's going to choose the day I'm dying? Or is it there a possibility
that's
whereby...
a different topic, but you're digressing. Because
Am
what
I
you're
digressing,
saying,
Pastor Emmanuel?
he is.
I'm trying to present, because
you know
the creator of the airtime is the owner. And
Because
the creator of the
once you
life I
involve
have is
God,
God.
once you involve God,
Yes.
we cannot fully explain God without either His written word and
Exactly.
without either the spoken word.
Exactly.
Because this is where God speaks about 10 years as a span of life. I didn't want to get into that now.
But we have now a need to get into the scripture.
Exactly. Yeah, but you see what? When something has been given a life,
No, don't scare us with scriptures. We'll get into scriptures.
Yes, that's
we
why
have,
I'm
sure,
avoiding-
we have the whole season to
for
talk about
yeah,
scriptures.
we will get into
Yes,
those.
let's talk about what everybody will understand
Well,
about this
exactly,
thing. Then
yeah.
the scriptures will
And-
bring them later on.
Any creation, He spoke about anything,
Exactly.
something,
Exactly.
someone. So you find when we talk about something,
That's a thing.
that's a thing. And talk time is a thing. It has a lifespan that has been assigned to it
By who?
by the people that have created that span of talk time that is awarded to a particular amount of money.
Okay, Pastor, let me give you a
Yes,
very good
come
example.
through, come through.
We have a thing. Let's not talk about a person. We have a thing here. This is a tree. So you're saying this tree has got a lifespan. Right. Who determines how long this tree is going to live?
Now, once you talk about all those things, is that they are external
I don't know, Pastor
affairs.
Emmanuel, if I'm bringing
No,
a
no,
very
that's-
good
that's-
illustration.
that- that's
This is
fine.
a thing that we have here.
That's fine. There are two people, the creator. Number one,
In this case, we are saying God.
God. Number two, the next person who wants to have some firewood can determine when he's going to cut this tree down.
Sure.
We have held fires. These are external things.
Sure.
Because these are the same, they are also synonymous even to people. At times, people die before their time. Because if I will talk about this thing,
Which you already mentioned. He already mentioned about dying before your time.
exactly. The airtime or the talk time, that is, how many people have you seen queuing at these airtime shops saying, my airtime didn't last the time it was supposed to last? Meaning that it has a designated time that it must last.
Sure.
So once that doesn't take place, it becomes a fault, or it becomes an accident, or it's a premature death, if I'm to use that.
Pastor, your word was when something lives beyond its time.
Outlives. Maybe that's where
when something lives beyond its time, that was your definition of death, which I didn't argue with. I want you to understand. I just asked you to elaborate and put it in a way that is not ambiguous. In a way that.
All right, maybe if I
leave me-
come in,
Yeah.
if I come in with a simpler term, to say
Perfect,
that.
thank you.
Okay, maybe
Or
just
another
to.
example.
All right, that's fine. I can still come in. I was trying to run away from dwelling too much on people, because I will agree with you that the term death, once you hear about it, you assign it to people, and once it involves people, there will be emotions running around here. So I wanted to first run away from the people, then come in slowly. But anyway, maybe it's the separation of when something or someone is removed, the life in that person. When life is removed, I think that
Or life
becomes
in that thing.
when the life of any
removed
particular
from a
guy is
thing.
removed, that is death.
From
That is
anything.
From
Remember I said-
anything.
So
That's
you
now
came,
our running
you came
definition.
back to my definition.
Exactly.
Well, I think I was forced to.
You came back to my definition.
I was compelled. I was forced back there.
No,
But I
that's
think
that's what happens when you mesmerize the definition. Everyone
you know what I like about what just happened here is that these are the definitions that are running around here with the people. So this is like we are staging what is happening out there. Because if we don't then demystify what death is, people out there have all sorts of definitions. So I like the way you've come in and you've brought me back to reality, of which I wish by the end of this season, as we complete this issue on death, we'll have people that will think straight like...
You know, Pastor Manu, I just feel like asking him a question. Can I ask you a question, Pastor?
Come through.
Would you agree that one of these days, during these sessions, I'll take you to a funeral parlor or a mortuary, and no,
and then shoot the program there.
Not shooting the program there, or even just to make you probably enter into a casket.
Never. I have enough of.
I'm trying to expose the fears that people have.
Never.
Okay. Why are you so afraid of a coffin?
Can you make probably a coffee table in the shape of a casket?
Never. I think our time is dead, so let me take a short break. Viewers at home, please join us after this short break. This is Life in the Word.
We have been hearing about blessing ever since we were born. But you have never sat down, just for a moment, to do a study and to find out what is the meaning of the word blessing. And the reason why we don't try to look for that kind of a word in the dictionary is because we assume we know what it is. So when the Bible again says that, and he adds no sorrow to it, what is sorrow? What is sorrow? Is sorrow something that comes to you as sorrow, or it is your response to the situation? Is there a place where you can say, right here, this is where sorrow stays, this is sorrow, this is sorrow, this is there sorrow created either by God or by the devil as sorrow? It is our attitude, it is our reaction, our response to what happens around us. So who creates it? It is us. Even if you are insulted by somebody, being angry, it is a decision that you make. Whether you make it in a quarter of a second, but it is your decision. It is your product. Sorrow is something that you produce.
Welcome back to our last and final segment of Life in the Word. We have our numbers scrolling on the screen. Please do keep in touch, and even on our Facebook and social media, please. We do value your views and comments. We've been discussing about death and what people feel about it, and we would want to hear how it has affected you in one way or the other. How do you relate to it? You've heard some of the arguments that we were having here and the controversies. These guys today have decided to team up against me, and I keep coming back. But anyway, those are the controversies and complications of death. Before we took a break, Pastor Sheki was talking about us bringing a coffin. I'd really want to hear what you guys think about this, how we can then relate ourselves or have a shooting at a cemetery. You heard him during the break that he wants us to shoot at a cemetery. So Pastor Sheki,
I said, during this season, I would like to take you guys to a funeral parlor or a mortuary. And he's adding and he's putting a cemetery. I think he also likes us to go to the cemetery.
No, not at all. But I mean,
And then he said, what's your take when we can you make a coffee table that is in the shape of a coffin?
I desist. I remove, because I've seen people making cakes with the modeling after a coffin. I've seen a cake. I never took a slice of that cake.
Were you feeling like you
Partaking,
You'll be partaking of it.
You know why I was raising something like that, Pastor, is that, like Pastor Emmanuel has been saying, the way we relate with death and the way we are so afraid of death. He mentioned something, he said, if we were taught and we were given enough knowledge about what death is at a timely age, at a very tender age, we were never supposed to have some of the fears that we have against this thing. Especially when it then comes to us discussing as pastors. There is information that has been made available by God to make us more powerful than death itself. So I'm not saying let's go and record in a funeral parlor. But I'm just trying to prove the point that you were saying, that we are afraid of certain things because of the knowledge that we have been deprived from a certain age, that if we were able to know those things by now.
But is it really a fear, or it's also knowing you spoke about maybe partaking, like this example I gave
Of a cake.
of a cake.
Yeah, sure.
So doesn't that also sum up, I'm not trying to, this is maybe a question, to say, is it not really, is it a fear, or it's a level of understanding that once we shoot or we associate ourselves with certain places, are we not then subjecting ourselves to unforetold laws that govern our eventualities and things and processes of life? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I hear you're trying to bring in a very strange subject. Yes, powerful in your own context. But my point is, we have the owners of the funeral parlors that are living probably up to 80 years of age. And those laws have not affected them. We have the undertakers themselves. It's a very serious profession that people live on.
Can I just be sure if you are supporting Pastor Sheki's point of...
I'm not supporting anyone.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to...
Are you in any fear that
No, I just wanted to be sure so that I allow you...
No, I'm not supporting anyone.
Okay, that's fine. So let's go. Continue.
We have undertakers. People whom we think by them doing that job almost every day in their life, they were supposed to have probably died in a way earlier because of that. So I think that law of eventuality in this regard, that law you want to talk about, may not suffice, may not have good ground, because it all goes into the information that we've dealt with in our last segment. The knowledge that you have about a particular thing. Being an undertaker is a profession. Having a funeral parlor is a profession. It's a business.
Yeah.
I make money out of it. So if Pastor Sheki decides that we bring a coffin here, right, to make our show a reality, it's a show, it's a business. How should that entail that one of us here will leave early? Even if it is going to be like that, still is the subject.
Henceforth, it is
You're not scared, right?
I totally disagree. I will not...
But you know what? I want to
I'll
support
talk
where he's
to our
coming from.
producers
You know what,
and
Pastor?
directors that
They
we
are
don't...
carpenters who are professionally, what they specialize in doing is making coffins.
Actually, they dream of those designs.
Exactly.
I'm in total agreement.
Can I tell you something? I once visited a funeral parlor. Do you know that?
That's the reason. I think that's where you got the idea from. Let's go.
Do you know that people who make coffins, they've got so comfortable to an extent that they actually sleep inside of the coffin during the night?
Even on demonstrations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please enlighten me on that part.
No, he's trying to prove a point of where he's talking about the law of eventualities that you raised.
No, not proving a point on the law. We don't want to bring in a strange subject.
Yes, I didn't want to...
Subject.
Yes,
we don't want to talk about that. But the point that I'm trying to bring in is the fear that's in people. You see, some people fear every time the word itself is mentioned. To say death, some people are scared already.
Sure.
Some people fear when they see, what do you call that, a convoy of cars carrying a dead body. Exactly. There's a coffin there, there's a funeral, those service providers there, right? And people are so scared, and some of them, they are traumatized, and, you know, a lot of things happen in people's emotions. You understand? But I'm saying, while this one is scared, there's somebody who works at the funeral parlor.
Every day.
There's someone whom we call an undertaker. Yeah, why are they not scared?
Yeah, but I'm saying now, you said one who does what? An undertaker is
There's
one
an
who
undertaker.
works.
Exactly. He works in a mortuary. There is a mortician who works in a mortuary. He goes to dress the bodies, he goes to prepare the bodies, he makes sure they are in the proper position. And
What understanding do those people have?
I think they are trained. This is where their fear
So you
has
support
been.
what we say?
No, not really. Not really. Listen to this one. Listen to this.
What disqualifies you to go and do the same? Can you go and dress a dead body today
Oh,
now?
number one, I'm not trained for that. I'm trained for something else.
Do you mean trained for the art or trained to do away with the fear?
I think
We want to know the answer.
No.
What part are you
I
talking
think
about?
it's
Is it
one
trained for the art?
I think it's one and the same thing.
No.
In that when they are given a training,
One might
the
not
more-
have fear, sir. One might not have fear, but lacking the art. So we are saying, what
As for the
training are you
person like
talking
me,
about?
I don't have the art, but I'm not afraid to do that.
well, but would you work in a mortuary?
Let me give you a very good example.
No. Did you see?
So you should just answer the question.
Yes,
Yes
I'm
or
working
no?
Would you work in a mortuary?
Yes.
Never. Yeah, I don't think so. Because you know what, gentlemen, we are saying that there is certain things, there is certain fear that is taken out of a person by consistent trainings, by consistent touch with a particular thing. The first day maybe you got into a car, there could have been an excitement or a fear. But the more and more that you get accustomed to that particular thing, there are certain fears that come out.
Yeah, sure.
That's a given. That's I'm saying that for these people that work in a particular place, they may not have that fear, not because
They conquered.
well, yeah, we can play around with words. They may have conquered, they may have gone through the fear and gotten used to it and things like that. But that's another topic for another day. But what I'm saying now is that he's asked me a question to say, is it the art or the fear? That was your question, is that right? I'm saying that it's one of both. Because once you are trained for something, certain fears leave.
Are you afraid of a dead corpse?
I'm a pastor. I bury people that have passed on and promoted to glory, and this is a fear. I'll be very honest with you.
Are you not doing that in fear of losing your job
exactly,
or
yeah.
something like that?
Well,
you are mandated to do that, right?
I'll be honest with you.
On air.
I'll be honest with you.
Say air, you're on air.
Yes, I'll be very honest with you. Is that is one particular area I used to struggle with, and I'll share this as a testimony. When I then got into ministry, the particular place where I was attached and where I was carrying out my duties, I did more funerals than anything else. So that's the training I'm trying to.
Okay. And
You know,
gradually
whenever
you're conquering the
I would
fears.
see a pastor, traditionally here in our country, here in most of these churches, once there is the procession is happening, pastors are normally mandated to stand
Yeah, just before the coffin.
just as the coffin is open during the body viewing and things like. And I would look at those people and say, I would never do that, even if I was forced to. But now you can imagine my funeral number one. No one knew that this was one of my greatest fears. But now, because of the training I got, and glory to God, whether the fear, whatever was conquered, whether you want to call it a fear, whether you call it a misunderstanding. And
I'm sorry, you reminded me of a colleague, a pastor, very close friend of mine. It was his first funeral, not really to attend, but to then stand before
Yes,
right there
to conduct
to conduct the procession and stuff. So I had done that before, not really standing, but I had worked in places where you meet a lot of dead bodies and stuff. So I wasn't that scared anymore. So
I like what you said. You've come back to my side. He wasn't scared anymore. Meaning the fear was there.
I have to promise our viewers, I have to do a test run of these pastors if they're telling us that they've conquered this fear.
So, yeah, but you know, this is separate. You know, fearing a dead body and,
come on.
fearing death is
No,
different.
that's
right?
fine. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
So we're standing right there. We were the two of us who were assigned to go there as junior pastors in the ministry. So we went there, and my colleague there, he had not told me that it was his first time, you see. So, but something in me had just told me that, no, look, you need to be, you know,
Strong.
you need to be the two of you.
Yeah.
All right. So that guy from the funeral parlor opens the lid, you know. Cool.
And this was his first time.
my friend retreated.
I hope he didn't leave the
No,
movie.
I held his belt. So we're
Looking for strength though.
we're standing so close. So I discovered that he's now like wanting to disappear. So I held his belt, and you know, I went so close to him.
You know, that's so him what he's saying, holding someone's belt. That's so him.
So he gained his strength. So it is after the procession in the whole process when he told me, man, it was my first time.
That was closing on a lighter note. Gentlemen, thank you so much for our time has run out. Our time has gone dead. There's death that is coming to our time. But thank you so much for joining us, Pastor Sheki. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man of
Thank
God.
you, Pastor
But,
Emmanuel. We really
I
hope
appreciate it.
we really have power over death.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We really hope with the coming episodes we can really exhaust and really get into the word. Viewers at home, thank you so much for joining us. As we continue this topic, it's a very unusual one, but as we have always promised to live up to our expectations as Life in the Word, where we talk about controversial issues, unusual issues, but really coming in to the lifestyle of the Word of God. Thank you so much. Our numbers are there on your screen. Please do keep in touch. We do value your feedback. This is Life in the Word. Stay tuned to Christ TV.